Welcome to Saturday Morning Retro, episode 11, a podcast on the Rated G Network focused on retro gaming and giving ourselves an excuse to play our collection. I'm your host, Dave Rutino. This is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man? I mean, episode 11, almost a year. Wow.
11. That's right, because we do one of these a month. We drop them at the end of the month, which is crazy to think. We've been doing the regular show coming up on 6 years. We've been doing this show coming up on 1 year. Well, sure.
It's been 6 years? Man.
Sure, we started in 2005, right?
Seems like it's been like 6 months. This is like, it just time flies by.
I know. I know. It's crazy. So,
I mean, this is actually almost 1 year of quarantine too, right?
Oh my God. Well, yeah, no, it's just over a year of quarantine. I guess the official start was the 15th, 16th, maybe of March. So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I have good news. Speaking about that.
Okay.
I got a shot in the arm. I have just been vaccinated.
Ooh, well, you didn't get the Pfizer shot, right? So now you got to go get.
I got the Moderna, so I got to come back in a month to get the second shot, which apparently makes you feel even worse. But
right, so after you get the second shot, if you don't turn into a zombie from The Walking Dead, then I'll apply.
I won't.
Then I'll apply.
Oh, are you one of those like wait and see?
No, I'm one of those lazy guys. I'm just
yes, I know.
Playing video games, listening to music.
Ugh.
I was like, oh man, the zombie apocalypse has been over for like 10 years. I should get back. I should get the flu shot. I should get the zombie shot. Yeah,
it's not like we can normally get it. It was just a fortunate series of events that happened, and I ended up going down on Thursday to get it. A little shot in the arm. I feel good. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
So let's get this show on the road, Dave. Mm-hmm. We have an awesome show this month.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to talk about the OG Metroid, right? Like,
that's right.
I have fond memories of playing Metroid as a kid, and I got a shocker for you. I'm going to talk about Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
Oh my God! I love the amount of colons in that title,
and I'm going to tell you why that game. Well, I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that for a little bit later.
You got a story, right? You got.
I think I'm gonna surprise you with my thoughts on the game. Okay, but let's start the show off with this month in gaming history, right? Like, well, technically, I could go back to last year, right? This month of gaming history. I mean, it was kind of historic. Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal came out at the same time in March. That's last year.
That's right. Actually, I think they got pushed a little bit to April, if I'm not mistaken. I think they were supposed to come out in March. I think they may have gotten delayed a little bit, but it was definitely around this time. 100%.
No. I think it was March, because
maybe you're right. Yeah,
we quarantined in March.
Yeah,
but I still had to go to work to pick up stuff. Like I had to go pick up stuff in my office, and I stopped at Best Buy.
Nice.
Outside, waiting for them to bring out the games.
God. You remember when that was a thing? You can't go in stores at all?
Oh, I couldn't go in the store. Well, no, I did go in the store. You had to tell the guy what you want. They go get it for you, confirm it at the door, and then you go straight to the register, and you have 3 minutes. So I remember that was a thing.
Jesus, we've come so far.
but the real this month of gaming history, Star Fox released in North America March 26th, 1993. And I remember I got this for my birthday, which was 2 months later in May.
That is wow. That is a good birthday gift right there. That's a good birthday gift. I mean,
I know Star Fox was hard.
Yep.
Star Fox, the original Star Fox, that's kind of hard to go back to be honest.
Well, that too. I mean, it technically, I don't know if it was the first 3D polygon game that came out for a console, but definitely one of the first.
Well, that was the first game that had the FX chip, right?
Yeah. There was like 4 or 5 games that came out on Super Nintendo that had it. You got a whopping like 5 frames a second, but it was great. You get to play 3D games on your Super Nintendo, which was unheard of. Boundary pushing.
I thought it was when I first saw it. I thought it was mind blowing. Right? Like I was like, wow, I'm like really flying a plane. Like this is awesome.
Yeah.
Trying to control it and shoot the controls were kind of off and trying to shoot.
A little tough.
It's a little tough. It was hard to. It's hard to go back to.
Mm-hmm.
I do actually. Funny enough, I do try to go back to it because I keep saying I want to beat it, and I keep making it to like maybe like the 4th level or 4th or 5th level, and it gets too hard and difficult to control, and I just give up.
Oh. I hear you. So. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, we almost had the sequel, but they scrapped it in favor of Star Fox 64. All right.
Oh, they should have just released it. It would have been so. I think
they did now.
Bought it. I thought. I honestly think if they would have released it, no one would have bought it. It would have been like one of the rare games of the NES.
Probably because it was right before, or I guess right after the N64 came out, and you know they purposely said we don't want to confuse people. We want to put one game forward. And it's like, all right, we're gonna go with this true 3D version, the N64 version, which was great. It's a great game, but yeah, man. So if we only had a card.
So Dave, you get any good pickups this month?
I got some pickups. They
not you don't know if they're good, but you got some pickups. You didn't get any good pickups.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been talking about it on the regular show a little bit. I'm trying to save some money up for this home improvement thing, so I'm not going hard on the pickups as much as I normally would. But I did get a couple. Sayonara Wild Hearts for the PS4, the great indie game that they showcased, I think, at the Apple event and E3 a couple years ago. It's like a rhythm simulator where you're riding on a bike and you're making music. You know, it's supposed to be very good. I haven't played it yet. We Happy Few for the Xbox One, and Tony Hawk Underground for the original Xbox. So,
ooh, Tony Hawk. Well, now let me ask you a question. The Underground series for Tony Hawk, I think it was only 2 of them, right? Because I have.
Yep.
I have both of them. Were they actually any good? Did they stand up to the original Tony Hawk games?
Tony Hawk 2, still the king. The remake obviously is even better, Tony Hawk 1 and 2, but 2 is the king. 3 added some new stuff, but wasn't as monumental as 2. 2 is the one. Underground 2 are good. After that, they kind of got a little wonky. So, yeah. I mean, you're gonna play one. Underground is certainly good, but you do get all the Jackass baggage. So if you end up playing the story mode, like all the dudes from Jackass are in there, and they're part of the story. So take it or leave it if that's your thing. But
that's cool. I mean, I like Jackass back in the day. I used to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that kind of humor. Like you gotta knock down these bricks to throw on somebody's head, or hit this thing, and then you'll shoot Steve-O out of a rocket, and he'll go flying across the stage. It's that type stuff. But you do it all on the skateboard. So
okay, I don't think hitting anybody in the head with a brick would actually fly today. But I digress.
Yeah, it's a little. There was some questionable stuff in those games for sure. But how about you? What did you pick up?
I got a lot of pickups. But I'm going to start with something that I didn't put on the show notes. You don't know about it because I just got them today. I was just in the mood. I was having a really good day at work, and I felt like, you know what? I can take a little time and go game hunting. And I went to 2 GameStops. I went to Salvation Army, Five Below, and a thrift store.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So I went to a couple of places. In the freezing cold because it was super cold outside and windy, right? So I even found a Dreamcast game in the wild.
Oh,
right?
shoot!
So I got them right here. So I got for the Dreamcast, for the sake of Dreamcast, the NCAA 2K2 college football.
Oh, shoot!
Right? And they have Drew Brees, who just retired.
Oh my
they have him in the
God!
cover.
Right, former New Orleans Saints quarterback. I think began and ended his career on the Saints. No. He was with the Chargers. Oh, that's right.
First 4 years he's with the Chargers.
Right. And then they
hurt him. He got hurt, and they thought there was no chance that he'll ever play again, and then became a Hall of Famer. Right? He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's got at least 1 ring, if not 2, right?
He has 1 ring, controversial. That was, Bountygate, but he still has the ring. He didn't take it away from him.
Oh yeah. 10 grand a hit, according to Sean Payton. Which, I mean,
it's football.
It is.
But okay, all right.
It is.
A game I thought was interesting. I wanted to pick it up. I paid full price for it at GameStop just because it was something I wanted to check out, and that is One Punch Man. Never heard of this game before.
Oh yeah,
this is like based on like an anime, an actual anime. Came out for Bandai Namco, so
they have some good. They have a good pedigree with their fighting games. You know.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's a like 3D fighter.
A game I almost bought on a Switch because it was the remastered version, but then I found it at GameStop like on a clearance for like $4, and that is The Blob 2 for the PS2.
Oh shit! Yeah.
So
yeah.
Definitely,
it's an interesting game. I think I may own the first one for the Wii.
Well, now I have the Blob 2. You know, now I got to go buy the first one.
Of course,
I don't.
You got to have the complete collection then.
A game that, for some weird reason, it's like $20 online, but at GameStop it was 99 cents, and they had like 5 different copies, and that is UFC Undisputed.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So, 2009. The 2009 version. Don't know if it's any good. I wonder if Brock Lesnar's in here.
He may be. Yeah, I think that was about the time. Because he came back to the WWE, I think.
He came back, and his last appearance was last year, WrestleMania. He lost to Drew McIntyre. I regret I got the PSP version recently.
Oh boy.
I regret getting it because I got the PS3 version pretty cheap. I don't want to say super cheap. It's pretty cheap. At GameStop, and it's Toy Story 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Underrated game. No, this game this is a good platform.
I think it's very rated. I think it's accurately rated.
I think it's
a Disney movie tie-in, Dan. You're not going to convince me it's a good game.
Listen. It's a Metal Jesus hidden gem. Okay, that's all
everything's a Metal Jesus hidden gem.
I can't help it if the man likes every game he plays.
Well, then that's not really a seal of approval. That's just he just likes video games.
He likes video games. Well, so do I. Okay.
I see.
A game I didn't even know existed. And for $2, why not pick it up? And that's Don King Presents Prize Fighter.
Oh my God! Wow. So it's not Fight Night. It's not Knockout Kings.
I didn't know Don King had an actual video game.
Right. I mean, it's not surprising. He's probably the most famous boxing promoter, right? Thanks to Iron Mike Tyson. But wow, I'm gonna suspect it's not a good game.
Well, maybe I'll play. Maybe I'll play for a Saturday morning retro.
I'm actually very interested to hear your thoughts.
I got Overg Fighters.
Oh yeah,
for the 360.
Mm-hmm.
This was like on the floor in the GameStop, and $2, not bad. Pick it up.
Yeah, good deal.
And then I got Ace Combat 4 for the PS2. Found this at the thrift store as well.
Nice. Good deal.
I will say this as a side note. While I was at GameStop, there was a guy there who was pretty pissed off, and he started cursing and yelling and threatening the store, workers. Listen, I got to be honest. I don't know what result you're trying to get, but it won't
it's
be.
It's not going to get you anywhere. Well, I mean, if he wants to end up in jail.
So they politely said you could leave the store. They didn't even want to take whatever purchase he had, and I think he was here to pick up a game that he pre-ordered, and they said no, you can leave. So
wow. Do you know why he got all heated? Did they not have his pre-order?
No, I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at all the games and trying to double check the prices, see if it was cheaper here, which they were. I mean, look, Don King's game, the game that you probably never heard of. I never heard of. It was like $15 online, and I got it for $2. So I was too busy price matching to pay attention to what the issue was.
Right.
But he was cursing and he was really pissed off. And I got to say, you're not going to get the desired result. Just calm down.
Oh my God.
Go to another GameStop. Come on, relax.
Well, I mean, if he's got a pre-order and it's supposed to be at that GaMstop, I don't think that.
No, that wasn't the issue. It was something about getting a coupon from the app. Like they told him, you have to go into. I think it was something about. If I recall, he had to go on the app to get the coupon, and he was pissed. And he was like, "No, you do that." And
all of that. That whole. I understand where that guy's coming from. I don't understand him getting crazy angry, but their app is garbage, and the way it's all set up is garbage. You should just be able to. If you have points in your system, if you have points in the system, they should be able to apply those points from the computer. That's all I'm saying. You have points, you want to cash them out, they should be able to make it a seamless process.
In my experience, some of the coupons you had to redeem on the app yourself and then show it to them.
You do. Yeah.
Yeah. But if it's like a $5 off that month coupon, that they could do that for you, or redeem your membership, they could do that for you too. Which I did, by the way, today. My membership was up in June, so I just redid the I just re-upped it for 2021, well 2022.
Sure.
And keep getting the magazine. So
do you? All right, magazine aside, because magazine's a good tangible thing.
I have like 100,000 points, by the way.
Well, okay, sure.
Anything else?
I
don't use it for anything else.
I was gonna say, do you find? I mean, obviously you do, but are you getting use out of the membership? Because I know you get 20% or 10% off pre-owned.
Well, it depends. Like, if I had like four games that were like under $20 or something like that, and they were like 4 for $20, and then I get like an additional like $5 off or something like that. I have a lot of coupons that I don't redeem, to be honest, and that's how I have so many points. Because
you got to redeem those coupons because I think they expire. I think maybe not.
Coupons. Dave, it's always coupons. It's always
coupons. But you're paying for the membership. I'm just
Well, listen. As soon as I hear that GameStop's going under, I'm going to redeem everything. I'm trying to use as much points as I can.
Right. Right. Can I use those points to buy the kiosk? That's what you're going to say.
That would be cool. All right. So those were the games I got today, but the games I got earlier in the month. I got Sparkster for the Super Famicom.
Nice.
Right? I do have Sparkster for the Genesis, but those were two different games. Back in those days.
That's right.
If the game came out on the Genesis and it came out on the Super Nintendo, same name.
It could be different.
Game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these two games were different. So I definitely picked up the Super Nintendo one, but I got it for the Super Famicom.
Nice.
The Super Nintendo one is really expensive, like $180.
Oh my god.
Yeah, where this cost me like $50. So I got Booger Man for the Genesis.
Oh,
totally forgot about this game.
Oh, you can't never forget about Booger Man.
I totally forgot about Booger Man.
Never forget. Pick and Flick Adventure is the subtitle to Booger Man.
Yeah,
so there you go.
I always wanted to play this game when I was a kid. I was like Booger Man.
It's legit toilet humor.
A game I didn't know existed was a Soccer Kid for the 3DO. It's like a platformer where you're kicking a soccer ball around. Like
right.
I think it's like similar to the fact of like Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, where you gotta keep Mario, the baby Mario, around, right? Same thing. I think you gotta keep the soccer ball around, something along those lines. I know the soccer ball is used in some way. I thought it was interesting, so I picked it up. It's not the big box. I just have the jewel case with the game. Okay. So
yeah.
I got that pretty cheap. It was like $12.
Nice. This was also on TurboGrafx 16, I think.
Well, you could be right about that.
Yeah, I think so. I wonder if it's like a port just with better graphics. Huh.
I wonder if it had better controls.
Yeah.
And then I got WCW Thunder and Mayhem. Both for the PS1.
Thunder and Mayhem, two separate games. Yeah.
Thunder and Mayhem, yes.
Nice. With Goldberg on the cover.
Yes, and I think it was Thunder. That was the game that they had when you just hover over the wrestler. They say something to you.
Yeah.
And said something stupid. I forgot what it was. To be honest, that's the really reason why I bought it. I had rented the game at the time, and I remember it was like, that's stupid. Why do they say these stupid things when you just hover over the wrestler?
Oh, it's so corny.
So, got that. Really good game, Guardian Heroes.
Oh my god. Yep.
I got it, but I have it for the Japanese Saturn version. The American Saturn version is too expensive. But
that is a heavy hitter.
It's an awesome game. Beat 'em up, hack and slash, action role playing game. So.
Yep. They made a re-release or an update, I guess, on the 360 PS3, I think. Very good. Yeah. Yeah, very good. I don't know if there was a physical for it. I think it may have been digital only.
That would explain why I never heard of it.
Yeah, but it's a very good update. You can even play with the old sprites, which is kind of cool. But nice. That's really good, that game. That's a solid pickup.
I got Donkey Kong Barrel Blast for the Wii. And that was that weird Donkey Kong game that it wasn't a platformer. It was just like remember in Donkey Kong Country, like you jump in a barrel and you're blasting around. Like that's what this game is.
Right.
And for some odd reason, this game which everyone pans and says it's not a great game. This game is like $40, and you can't really find it any cheaper. So, and then I got, before there was the Arkham trilogy, and before there was the anime, before the animated series, for those animated series games that came out like on a GameCube, there was Batman Dark Tomorrow. Now, by all accounts, this is a terrible Batman game, but I got it because it came with the comic, and I got it for the original Xbox.
Nice. Wait, it came with a comic inside?
It came with the official Batman comic.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
So I definitely picked that up.
That's awesome.
So those are my pickups for the month. So I thought, listen, Guardian Heroes, pretty good pickup. But I found a Dreamcast in the wild. Come on, you don't find those in the wild.
How often?
Even though it's a sports game, it's an NCAA game. So.
Right. Yeah. Some of those NCAA games are worth a ton of money because they stopped doing the franchise. EA decided to not do the license anymore. So if anybody ever sees an NCAA 13 or 14 out in the wild, pick that up.
Yeah, well, I don't think they're going to see that. I think
you never know.
Scoop those up.
I mean, they do. Yeah. People were hunting.
People scoop those up. So, all right, Dave. We're not doing a triple R this month, but I thought we would do something a little bit interesting. The question was posed by YouTuber Retro Ghetto. I kind of like his channel. I really do like his channel. He does a lot of pickup videos. He's from the UK, and he posed a question to YouTubers and podcasters or collectors, gamers. Are you a gamer or are you a collector first? So
look at that. That is an interesting question.
Many people answered this question in a lot of different ways. I figured we would answer this question in we would use percentage. Like, what percentage of you are a gamer and what percentage of you is a collector, right? So I pose the question to you first, Dave.
All right.
What do you consider yourself more of, a gamer or a collector?
Well, it's interesting. You posed this ahead of time, and I had some time to think about it. And the answer that I originally came up with is the answer that I have now. And I think or you could guess, and I've mentioned on the show before, that I love collecting. More so, well, it's hard to say more so than playing the games, because, God, some games are just amazing, the experience in playing the games. But there's something to be said about thrill of the hunt, right? There's the old adage, it's not the destination, it's the journey. So it's not, well, I have the game, let's pop it in the system and play it. Sure, that's also there too, and I guess that could be a journey going through the game. But seeing all the stuff on the wall, it's like you look at the game and you go, I remember the day that we got that when we went to Queens and we found that big sale and we met that guy Scotty.
That was our first garage sale together.
Right. That's where I
I had to teach you stop saying everything looks great and is in perfect condition.
You pulled me aside and you said, no, here's how we do it. You make a stack of these games and a stack of these games, and you don't show interest in the ones that you really want or the ones that are worth a lot of money. You don't want to tip anybody off, and you go, well, how about like these games? And it's like, I'll also take these other games, throw these in too. How about that? Right?
You asked me, why did I get so many sports games?
Exactly.
Because I'm going to get a good price for everything.
Exactly. It's like, well, I'll take these games off your heads too, right? Like you do with them a favor. So I remember I got like Top Gun. I got Top Gun in box that day, and I was like, oh shit, there's a lot of good stuff there. And
we got you a Game Gear that day. I
did.
I negotiated Game Gear for you.
I got that with Sonic and the case and all that. I remember the time I got Super Metroid at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. I paid a very decent price for it. So, obviously playing the games is fun, but it's the finding the games out in the wild is also super fun. I love the hunt. Even if it's like I go out and I go to a bunch of different places and I can't find anything, it's still fun to me. So I think I enjoy collecting more than playing, because a lot of the games too, I've either played them before or they're games that probably aren't worth playing, but they were fun to get out there and collect and all that. You know, your Madden 96 or your NBA Live 05 or whatever, right? You're probably not going to go back to those because they're kind of like, or the Barbie's Horse Adventure that we always talk about. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'd say
Give me a
maybe
percentage. Give me a percentage.
70-30 split. There it is.
Wow.
70-30 split.
Wow.
That's right.
I'm
That's
shocked.
right.
I am shocked.
I love the hunt. I love the thrill of the hunt. Right? I love the thrill of the hunt. It's like I'm a lion out on the savannah trying to find my prey.
Wow.
And when you find that good piece of meat, right? It's like, ooh.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm shocked by your answer.
Really?
Oh. Yeah.
But I have to qualify. You know, some people have criticized me for just being a shelf. I'm not going to say the other word, but just, you know, having the games up there just to have the games and go, oh, look at all these games. But it's not about that. I enjoy finding all the games.
Well, technically, that's why the show even exists. So
yeah, it's true.
Dig into the shelf.
That's 100% true. That's 100% true. You know, okay. I wouldn't have gone back and played Mario for like today's show if it weren't for that, or Metroid. I mean, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd say 70-30 split, but when I do get the time to play the games, I'm like invested. I'm all in. So
I love games, and I started being a collector by accident. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't say, oh, I want to start collecting games. It was by accident. Like I started playing games again because, you know, I come home stressed. My job is kind of stressful. I have long days, and I started playing Super Mario World because I was like, I got my Super Nintendo. Oh man, I remember this. And I have a lot of disposable income now, and I started playing games, and I started rebuying the games I lost, and then I started buying games that I would see in like the Nintendo Power or see commercials or posters, because back in those days, like in the Genesis or the Super Nintendo, you get the posters that came with it, and you'll see different games, and you'll oh my god, I want to try this, I'm going to play this. And I started buying those games that I saw and never even, you know, that like, oh man, I remember that. And then it was games I never even heard of, and I was like, this came out. Soccer Kid for 3DO exists. I didn't even heard of that game.
There you go. Let
me go buy that. And I just sort of never stopped. Right? So collecting, and listen, I love the thrill of the hunt. I mean, I just got back from 2 GameStops, a thrift store, a Salvation Army, and a Five Below.
Yeah, it takes work.
I put in the work. But nothing stops me from playing the games. I know, you know, you make fun of Barbie's,
Horse Adventure,
Horse Adventure, but you know what? If it's a decent platformer, I want to try it.
Sure.
If it's not a decent platformer, I want to try it and then say it sucks and move on to another game.
Right.
So I got to be honest. I'm about 60-40 playing a gamer than I am collector.
60-40 gamer. Okay. Yeah.
I love collecting, and I love my collection. But I love playing the games.
Sure.
More than I love the hunt for the game.
Sure. And I think that's valid. You know, I think that's valid.
I mean, I think, to be honest, I went back and forth with this a little bit. I was like 50-50, to be honest. That was my original intent, to say it was like 50-50. But I thought, you know, that was sort of a cop-out, right? Like, you got to love one more than the other.
Sure.
But I would say when I get that God of War, when I get that Super Mario World, when I get that Ghost of Tsushima type of game.
When you get the experience,
it just puts me over the top, right? Like I don't care about collecting. I don't want to gather every game. I want to play that game and get that great experience. Final Fantasy, as much as I, you know, bag on Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy series, when Final Fantasy 7 Remake came out,
it's fantastic.
I put almost 30 hours into it, right?
I know. Well, just wait for the next bit to come out.
Yeah, and put another 5-6 hours into that.
Yep.
So I got to say, I'm a gamer first, collector second. So 60-40.
Yeah.
So
good question.
All right, thank you. All the credit goes to YouTuber Retro Ghetto. You should go check out his channel. You know, he has a lot of pickup videos, and I think he actually sells a lot of his games that he picks up, especially if he already has it already. So,
nice.
I would definitely check out his channel. It's a pretty good guy.
Oh, so we should before we go to break, we should throw this question out to the fans, and let's get their opinion. Right?
Yeah. Hit us up.
Are you more a gamer or more a collector? Let us know in the comments.
Well, give us percentage, because we're going to put a little twist on that. Give us a percentage of gamer you are towards collector, or if you're even a collector, maybe you're 100% gamer and you're all digital, so you don't care about. But I think you could be a collector. Maybe some people can collect digital games too. I guess that is a thing.
Sure.
So, all right, when we go to break, when we come back, we're gonna dig deep into our backlog, pull the game off the shelf, and talk about Metroid and Street Fighter, the movie, the game. And we're back. All right, Dave, let's jump into our backlog. We're going to talk about Metroid. But first, I want to tell you about my love, my passion for Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
Wow. Right out the gate, the passion for this game. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm intrigued now. Tell me.
I told you would be surprised, because we didn't talk about this prior to the show. You would be surprised. I told you that. I'm going to tell you, this game got me back into collecting. Got me into being a collector, I should say. Remember, I talked about what got me started with collecting. I bought games that I bought games I had and lost. And then I started buying games that I really wanted and never got as a kid. And this was the first game I bought that I never got as a kid, because I always wanted to play it. I had fantasized about getting this game, and I really wanted this game back in, I think, 95.
Yeah.
94, 95.
Yeah.
And I told my parents I wanted Street Fighter, and they got me. They had the nerve to get me Street Fighter 2 Turbo for the Super Nintendo.
Terrible. It's far worse. Yeah, terrible.
And I told them I wanted Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
Oh, my God.
For the PlayStation. Because I didn't have a Saturn. Remember, my friend had a Saturn. My friend had a Saturn, and I had the PlayStation.
Right. A young Dan Robinson did not know what he was asking for.
I didn't. I probably would hate this game if I got it back then. But I wanted this game for 20 something years, so I finally got it.
I feel you on that, because it had these cool digitized graphics. It kind of looked like Mortal Kombat, right? But it had all the Street Fighter characters.
Yeah, they digitized the cast of the movie in the game, right? It looked super cool. It was finally Street Fighter meets Mortal Kombat, right? Mortal Kombat style. That was that was how it went. So the story of the game is just like the movie. So if you think the movie story is stupid, then you're gonna think this is stupid too. And I don't think the movie is that bad. Oh no, okay. It's terrible. It's so terrible it's good, right? I think.
It's a fantastic. I mean, we have quotes from it at the beginning of every one of our regular show episodes. All right, when Colonel Guile, played by Austrian Jean-Claude Van Damme, right, and he's riling up his troops to go kick Bison's ass. Right, it's monumentous.
Or so back in the early days of the show, we had Bison, right?
That's right.
This is Tuesday. Right. We had
That's that right.
So the North American version of this game came out on consoles September 9th. Well, actually, funny enough, this is the weird thing. It came out for the PlayStation September 9th, 1995. It came out for the Saturn a month earlier.
Right.
So if you want to talk about complaining when a game comes out for the PS4 and Xbox and it comes out for the Switch a year later, imagine it comes out for the Switch a month later, right? That's what we had.
Right.
It was the console version. Well, the Japanese version was developed and published by Capcom.
Wow.
The North American and Europe versions were by Acclaim Entertainment.
Oh, interesting.
So the port. I mean, not the port. The arcade version, which was the first version, was made by Incredible Technologies, or IT, right? It are esteemed, developers. They made such games as Driver's Edge, Time
Oh my
Killers,
God.
Ninja Clowns, and Bloodstorm.
Oh, it all makes sense now. It all makes sense. Ugh, most of those are terrible games. I think all of those are terrible games.
All of those are terrible games.
Oh,
So it came out for the arcade, Saturn, as I said, and PlayStation 1. It's a fighting game. I played my actual version, long box, PS1 version on my PS1, not the original PlayStation, but the PS1, the little PlayStation. So the game, like I said, is based on the movie, the 1994 live action movie. It's funny. This is the only game I can think of that's a game based on a movie that's based on a game.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah. There has to be something else, but God, yeah. Wow.
Well, if this isn't the only one, this is the first.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think you're 100% right. Yeah.
Yeah. I still think they should make a Mario game based on the Mario movie, and they should have. That was a lost opportunity.
Oh, the 1993 Mario movie. It would have been this. It would have been digitized graphics with the weird heroes, and it would have been on the CDI.
We would have had a Mortal Kombat style Mario game. That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. Yeah. All right. So this game is a six button layout.
Mm-hmm. 6-button fighter, huh?
So 6-button fighter layout. My biggest issue with this game when I first played it was the hit detection. It's a little off. It's just a little off.
A little bit off? Okay.
It's a little bit off.
Okay.
But the thing that's funny, people will complain about it, but I think it's hilarious. I think it's the funniest thing ever. Is like when they're doing their moves, you're not like Ryu, right? He's doing a super kick. Like his leg isn't really going all the way up. Like the actual mocap, like his leg is like up a little bit, and they pull his whole body to spin around. Like, he's not really kicking you. It doesn't look like he's really kicking you. It's crazy. I want to say one thing. Raul Julia, right? That's how you pronounce his name. Rest in peace. I think he's a fantastic actor.
This was his last movie.
This was his last movie because his kids loved the game, and that's why he wanted to play in the movie. He did not do the mocap for this game. He was too sick, so his stunt double, Dr. Tuscan, did the mocap for the game.
It's interesting.
Yeah, so that's a little tidbit right there.
Yeah. Huh.
One of my biggest issues with this game is the background. The background is boring. Like the background, like the stages are boring. They're just lazy.
They ripped them all from the movie, right?
They ripped them all from the movie, and it was just super lazy. Like there's the one background where, like, they're in like the army men are in the boats and they're just looking. They're just off in the back looking.
Yep.
Or there's one where you're like in like a town square and the army men are just standing there looking up at the sky, not even looking at the fight. Like it's just, it's uninspiring. It's drag, dreary. It doesn't look. There's no color. There's barely any colors in here.
It's supposed to be gritty, Dan. Live action like the movie.
Oh, it's gritty. It's gritty, all right.
Yeah.
A couple of things that are exclusive to consoles that weren't in arcade were DJ and Blanca.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, they could have did without them. They could have did without them.
Yeah.
Blanca, who's supposed to be some green beast with orange hair, is kind of like super skinny. He's not big or anything. He's kind of just frail and skinny.
Yeah, he missed he missed upper body day and leg day and arm day. He missed every day.
He missed a few meals. Okay.
Yeah.
He's kind of on the skinny side. He doesn't look like a menacing beast that I would be afraid of. So it just it's so weird. So I tried Movie Battle. Oh, get this. So I tried. So you do Movie Battle, which is like mode,
story mode or no?
It's like it's a story mode where it recreates the movie story.
Okay.
With branching paths, right? With branching paths, you can pick to fight this person or this person, but it starts you off where you fight Bison, and it's a fight that you can't win. You have to play as Guile. You have to play. Okay. You play as Jean-Claude Van Damme. You play as Guile, and it starts you off on a fight that you can't win. Like you just can't. Like this, or you're not intended to win at least. Right? So it's like now you have to try to get back to Bison, and you have these branching paths where you have to fight certain characters. And it's all it's all like, picture and text from the movie.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of weird, so I scrapped that. So I'm not doing that. I did the regular arcade mode.
Okay. Yeah. Just head to head. Yeah.
Head to head. Come to find out, right? Like there's a couple of people who aren't in here, like T-Hawk, Dalsim. They're not in here.
Mm-hmm.
But there is one exclusive character to here, and that's Captain Sawada.
Right.
He's exclusive to the game because he was in the movie. He was some offshoot character in the movie.
Yep.
And he has weird. I mean, he has a cool teleport move where he can teleport around, but he has a weird super move where he has no shirt and he puts his arms up and he's hitting you with his chest. That's his super move.
Okay.
It's his super move.
See, this is when you do OCs. This is my original creation. This is what happens when you let movie studios make a fighting game character, and it doesn't end up good.
So there is a secret character. That's Akuma. Akuma is in the game.
He was in every single game. He was in the Street Fighter Turbo. He was in X-Men Children of the Atom. He's in this game.
There's a way. There's a code for you to. I mean, I think you can unlock him if you unbeat it. If you beat it in hard mode with Guile, but there's a code that you can unlock him, and he looks totally weird. It was done by a stunt double that was in the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that it's totally uninspired. I even think he has like a spike chain around his neck,
as opposed to the big like ball necklace thing.
Yeah, he has like spikes around his neck and his wrist. So he looks totally,
He was digitized
totally
though, right?
He was digitized again. He was a stunt double in the movie.
Okay, so they didn't just take the sprite rip of the character.
No.
Okay.
No. Listen, the character models are good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could say some good things. The character models are good. They're legit. Sure. The characters from the movie. Mm-hmm. The music was awesome. It was too bad they wasted some of this music, some of these stage level music on this game, and not an actual Street Fighter game.
Right.
Does this game hold up today?
That's the question. That's the $1 million question.
Hell no. This game does not hold up at all. If you're used to playing good fighters or Street Fighters, no, doesn't hold up at all. I mean, in all the Street Fighter games, this would be last on the list of games to play. Right. But I will say, we do owe something to this game. Mm-hmm. This was the game that introduced EX specials in Street Fighters.
Oh, no way.
Games. Yeah.
No way. Huh.
Yeah, where you power up your version of the special attack and when your gauge meter is all the way up.
Right.
This game introduced that. This was the first game in the Street Fighter lore.
Wow. So this must have been built pre-alpha then, I guess. Pre-Street Fighter Alpha. Interesting.
People thought Street Fighter 3 was the first one that did it, but no, it was Street Fighter, the movie.
Oh, 3 had him, yeah. Yeah, okay, so Street Fighter 3 was like a year or two later, I think.
Yes.
Which took that mechanic out of that. Wow. Interesting.
I gotta say, I'm just saying, I look at this game and I'm looking at it like through my childhood eyes every time I see this game, because this is a game I wanted for like 20 years and never got it. Right, like I wanted it so bad as a kid.
Right,
and it was a game that I wanted to have in my collection. It's the first game I bought that was a game I never had, and I look at it with nostalgia goggles. So, if I had to rate this game,
well, that's the question. What would you rate it? Well, actually, before that, because I know this is a bit of an older game, but do we have any reviews for it? Are there any? What's the general consensus on this game?
There are. Well, it was way pre Metacritic, but I think EGM gave it like a 2-star review. It got a lot of
out of 10 or out of 5.
Out of 5.
Okay.
Out of 5. It was a lot of 2 stars and 3, and a lot of 2 stars, 1 star. I think the high score that I saw from a magazine, I think, was like 3 stars out of 5. Right.
Okay.
So, and that was probably an outlier. So
yeah.
I can't remember the actual magazine that gave it 3 stars, but that was an outlier.
3 stars would be a little generous, I think.
a lot of companies, a lot of outlets sort of panned this game. Like, it was cool to have sort of a Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat setting, right? And I think the idea was more exciting than execution. So, if I had to rate this game, in my heart, I rate it an 8 because I'm looking at it with nostalgia.
Oh,
right?
well, sure. Okay. So it gets a couple of points because of the history.
It gets a couple of points because I've wanted the game so bad, and I personally enjoy playing the game, even though it's so bad. It's like the movie. The movie is so bad.
It's enjoyable. Yeah. There's something about it.
But if I had to actually give it a serious rating with my head, I'll give it a 6.
6? Wow. Okay.
6.
All right.
Definitely a 6.
It goes that high. All right. Interesting. All right. 6 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for the nostalgia. All right.
Listen, it had some good ideas. Right. The idea of it is a good premise that they should have put a little bit more time into to make it right. I mean, I think the movie being so bad, helped make this game bad too. Left a bad taste in people's mouth with it. It did introduce EX specials. Right. It was the first Street Fighter to do that. It did have exclusive characters. Right. Regardless if you like it or not, it had 3 exclusive characters that the arcade version didn't have. And the music I thought was fantastic.
High point, sure.
I got to give high points for the music. And I mean, come on, I can't think of any fighting game at that time that had branching story modes, right?
Yeah, that's kind of unique.
So I think I got to give it some credit for being a game that brought good ideas to the table. It was just poor execution, and some of that could have been time, right? Like the movie came out in '94, so they had pressure to put the game out soon, right? The pressure, we got to release this game out. It can't be too long after the movie,
right? Because then everybody loses their interest in it, right? Which is weird because Street Fighter's been in the zeitgeist ever since the early '90s. So how do you lose interest in it? But I mean, yeah, it's so closely tied to the movie. So
yeah, so I got to give it some points for that. It's just poor execution. So I would give it a 6, an official rating of 6. But in my heart, it'll always have an 8.
Get some Dan Robinson brownie points there for the history. All right, nice.
Okay, so tell me all about the original Metroid.
So you played Metroid, right? I
have fond memories of Metroid. I've not so fond memories of sitting down on the floor trying to draw a map because it didn't come with a map.
Well, we'll get into all that. So let's get a little bit of info for this game. Japanese release August 6, 1986 on the Famicom Disk System. Came out a year later. About a year and 9 days later, August 15th, 1987 for the North American release. Developed internally by Nintendo Research and Development 1, R&D 1. Published by Nintendo, obviously it's their property. Released on the NES in North America, Famicom Disk System in Japan. It is a Metroidvania, although at the time it was known as
It's a Metroid.
Well, it was an action-adventure game. So they didn't even have... this basically birthed a whole genre of video games. So if you look at the card, it says
Metroid. It birthed the Metroid genre.
Yeah, and Castlevania kind of codified some things as well. They had some play in it a little bit later on, but and then I played this on the NES Classic because it comes included, and because I was able to use a Super Nintendo controller, which kind of helped a lot. So, a little bit of background on the game. Created by legendary Gunpei Yokoi. He's the brainchild of the Ultra Hand toy Rob the Robot. He made Kid Icarus, which was a companion to Metroid, and the Game Boy, among other things. So he has
Virtual Boy.
Well, I wanted to highlight the good things, but yes, he did also do the Virtual Boy and the Wonder Swan, but
and the Wonder Swan, which is a good console. I like that.
Yeah. So beyond all that, Metroid, it is very important in video gaming history because it birthed the Metroid genre, right? It birthed the whole exploration 2D exploration where you kind of run around this like kind of open world, I guess, for its time. You can kind of go anywhere, and then you kind of get blocked by certain things, and you go, oh, how do I get past that? Oh, I picked up this new power-up. It allows me to turn into a ball so I can get underneath this passage, or I get missiles that can go, shoot open doors that I couldn't get into before. Like, that was all revolutionary. There were games that, like, kind of did some of that, but, like, Metroid was really the game to really kind of bring that into the forefront. One of the first games, I don't know if it was the first game, but definitely one of the first games with a female protagonist. Right. Typically, it's
that was like a shock and a surprise. Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But if you never beat the game, you would have never known. Like, I didn't beat the game personally as a kid. Mm-hmm. Like, someone on the school ground and the playground told me,
and they're like, did you know that Samus was a woman? And right. Because you just always assume, oh, it's a guy in a spacesuit, right? Because you never see. He always got the helmet on and all that.
And Samus. I mean, I had a friend named Sammy, right?
Sure.
Samuel. So sure. Samus could be a guy's name.
Sure.
But yeah, it was groundbreaking for the time.
Yeah. And very much influenced. And this has been documented, and you can kind of see in the game. There's a lot of influence by Alien, the first Alien movie. All right, Aliens. Wasn't out when the game was in development. I think the trailers were out and they were working on the game or the movie. The movie came out, I think, a month or two earlier than the Japanese release, but it wouldn't have had that much influence. So the first game or the first movie has more influence. So far as the female protagonist, right? Goes Ripley is a female protagonist, so they share that. They named the boss Ridley after the director Ridley Scott. And it's got the sprite work and the animation and all that, and the backgrounds are all H.R. Geiger influenced. So it owes a lot to it owes a lot to Alien in that way, which is I think like super cool. To get into the game, the gameplay not great, very stiff. It's definitely the most unpolished part of the game. It's kind of hard to maneuver around. You frequently lose health, and it's very hard you have to grind to get health and missiles back. So, and there's like no map in the game, like you said before. There's no map, so you would literally have to plot out. Well, here's what the map looks like, or buy Nintendo Power to figure out like what was going on in the game. So, definitely not the high point of this game. Like, for its time, it was amazing. Like, you were kind of blown away, and I think you probably share the same experience I do, right? Playing the game back in the day, it was like, oh my God, we'd never played anything like it, right? But looking like back on it now, yeah, it definitely kind of shows its age. In terms of the story, it's a little light on story. You'd have to read the manual if you want to actually like get deep into the story, but essentially the game kind of plays out. There's some space pirates, right? Ridley is the king of the space pirates, right? And they're seizing these Metroid creatures, which you end up coming across like very late in the game, but they're trying to grab these Metroid creatures to turn them into like biological weapons, right? And you're kind of put out by the Galactic Federation, right? I guess the American U.S. governing space organization or whatever it is. I don't know if they're necessarily American, but they're essentially the good guys, and you're kind of contracted as a bounty hunter to go and eradicate the space pirates, right? Because you don't want them getting the biological weapon and kind of taking over the galaxy. So that's kind of how that goes. You get a little bit of that in the opening crawl. You get a little bit more info at the end of the game, but a lot of it's kind of in the manual or like there implied with like the Kozo statues and Ridley being like the king of the space pirates and whatever else. So they drop like a little bit of the story in there. But they follow up on it like later on. By the time it gets to like Super Metroid, like a lot of that stuff kind of comes to fruition. When you get to Zero Mission, which is the remake, like they fleshed it out even further, and you get a lot of stuff that kind of ties into it. So I thought that was kind of super cool, like how everything was kind of thought out in the beginning, even though they didn't explicitly like tell you in the game, but it was there. I guess they just didn't have the technology.
A lot of games in that time, you needed the manual to understand what was going on.
Yeah.
You needed to have the manual.
And I guess like one thing too, like speaking about the manual to like go back to it, they kind of told you what all the power ups were, and they gave you like a general idea what the game is. You can mess your game up, right? If you pick up the ice beam before you pick up the long beam, which they don't necessarily tell you that you're supposed to do, you'll get a very short ice beam. And if you go and try and pick up the long beam, it cancels out the ice beam, and now you have a long beam with no ice beam, which is super annoying. You pick up the wave beam, it cancels out the ice beam. You need the ice beam, but you also need the long beam. That's kind of an oversight, and they fixed that. And by the time it got to Super Metroid, they kind of worked out all of the kind of kinks, all of that stuff. But they were kind of the first of its time. Graphics and sound. Well, go ahead.
Well, it was all about exploring, right? You like back in those days, the game like Zelda, everything was about exploring, trial and error. But it should have came with a map, like 'cause you needed to get the weapon that was all the way over here, so you can use it to get or power up that was all the way over here, so you can get to all the way over here. And you could do a lot of backtracking, right? So I think this game would have been. I mean, it's a classic. Definitely a classic, but I think it would have been a little bit more well received if we would have had a map.
Sure.
Right?
I mean,
people, if you didn't have a map in Zelda, I don't think Zelda.
Right. I was just going to bring that up. Zelda had a map, and that came out a good 6 months earlier in Japan.
I'm just saying Zelda, classic game, and I think it still would have been a classic, but I think more people wouldn't have looked back on the original Zelda as fondly if they didn't have a map.
I think you're right.
To be honest,
I think you're right. It kind of
the game is hard.
It is.
The game is hard as it is, and then you got to go all the way around. You go into different places. So I think Metroid would be looked at in a better light from older people like us, right?
I agree.
A little bit more on a positive level if we had a map.
Yeah. It's the little things that they make a big difference. By the time the Game Boy one, I think a little bit, they made it a little bit better. Super Metroid had the map built in, and that made a big difference. As far as the graphics and sound, top notch for its time. I think they still hold up, even though the graphics are 8-bit and whatever, limited color palette, but it looks beautiful. It really sets the scene. It feels like a very scary planet. You're going into these like underground caves and, going into these like enemy layers, and it really like gives you the appearance like you're going into some unknown place, and it's very dangerous. So I thought they hit the mark there. Soundtrack is good. It is very repetitive. Like the clips are only like maybe like a minute long, and you're going to be hearing them a while because like,
That's a classic sound. That's a classic, just sound, and I love that. I love that, like that Metroid theme song.
Yeah.
Classic, iconic, and even though it's the clips are small, it never got annoying, at least to mine.
Same. Yeah, because they were just so well crafted. They were kind of minimalistic in a way, but they made it work. Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Well, just so you know, you have the regular cart, and then they re-released it with the yellow cart, right? Remember, it was still a regular gray cart, but it had the yellow sticker on it because it was the classics version.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. I don't have the gray cart in box, but I do have the yellow. I do have the yellow cart in box, and I have I already had the manual, so I just put it in there. So I have a complete box now.
There you go. So. Yeah. They did that with that one, and they also did it with Zelda too. They did a classic version, which is like kind of awesome. And if Feet to Fire, does this game hold up today? Is a very, very tough question. I would say
if you had a map. If you had a map, does it hold up?
Kind of, because like the controls are still really tough, and you have to grind for health. Because every time you die, you go back to 30. Even if you have all the energy tanks and the whatever, you always go back to 30 if you die, and you die a lot. And you get hit like twice after you die, and then you're dead again. So you have to grind out for health. There were definitely some.
You would see those bats hanging from the ceiling.
Yep.
Go out, they come back. You shoot up, you get the little pellet. Go back, shoot up, get the little pellet. That's where I learned how to grind. So yeah, I understand. I feel your pain.
It's terrible. They fixed it in by the time Metroid 2 came around. They had little health and missile stations, and they had them all over the place. You just you beat an area. Okay, here's a little health recharge. Perfect. Perfect. So I mean, they ended up realizing, yeah, grinding is terrible, and that's like kind of the worst part about it. I guess I would recommend people to go back and play it because it's got a lot of history, and it is a very good game. It just comparatively to Super Metroid wins every time. Like that's the pinnacle of.
It's on
2D
Nintendo
Metroid.
Online too, so I mean, which
it is
a better way to play it, and Nintendo Online has a rewind feature. So
and also save states.
And save states.
that makes all the difference, right? The little things make all the difference.
Still no map. Still no map.
That's right.
But yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So I guess if I had to give this game a rating.
Well, before you give it a rating.
Well, okay.
This game, I know Street Fighter, predated Metacritic, so this game definitely predated Metacritic. But we had Nintendo Powers back in the day, right? And that was our Metacritic, kinda. And I think on the 100th issue of Nintendo Power, they did say what was their top 100 games of all time, and the original Metroid came out at number 35. Super Metroid came above it. Super Metroid was like top 10.
Of course.
But
it should be like number 2, right below Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It should be below Super Mario Brothers 3 because Super Mario World is number 1. But I digress. So this was number 35 out of top 100 games back in 1995.
Sure.
So let's put that in sort of some perspective.
Sure. So if I had to give this game a rating out of 10, I have to go 7. Ooh. And if you want to throw nostalgia in there, it's 10 out of 10. I loved this game as a kid. I loved it. It was fantastic. I would play it along with Kid Icarus. I'd always go back to it and just play it. And I love it. It's great. But yeah, it definitely has some issues. But birth of a genre. So it gets its due because of that. All right, it really kind of solidified what the Metroidvania formula would basically be from kind of here on out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So, just so you know, as a side note, I've been trying to dig into the Game Boy Color games.
Oh yeah.
And this is what happens when you're a collector and you don't consistently play all your stuff, right? Like I'm sitting here, old habits die hard, right? Where the game isn't playing and you just want to blow into the cartridge. And put it
no,
in.
Dan, no.
I'm sitting here blowing, putting it in, and then it works, and I'm like, oh man, I wasn't supposed to blow it. I have the
cleaning kit.
I have the cleaning kit to clean the pins off, but I mean, old habits die hard. Just like it's ingrained in me just to start blowing.
Yeah,
right?
you gotta get a Q-tip with a little bit of alcohol on there and just kind of start rubbing. It's very easy.
I know, but I scrubbed. Can you over scrub the pins? Is that like a thing? Because I felt like I was over scrubbing. I mean, they worked. They did work after I scrubbed it.
I mean, you could certainly be a little bit too harsh and scratch the pins up, but as long as you're using something that's not that abrasive, you just want to be able to get the crud off and get the kind of rust and corrosion off and not harm the pins. So as long as you're using a Q-tip or something that's like made for that, I think you're good.
And then it must have been tough to be a handheld gamer back in the day. Because I'm sitting here playing the Game Boy Color game. I'm playing not WrestleMania, WWF Betrayal.
Okay.
I think it was Betrayal, right?
On the Game Boy Color, yeah.
With a Game Boy Color, where Stephanie McMahon got kidnapped and Vince McMahon acts Stone Cold. It was a beat 'em up. It was a
That's right.
And Vince McMahon acts Stone Cold to rescue her, which is kind of weird for the time because they're mortal enemies, right?
Right. He was the bad guy.
TV.
Yeah.
On TV, but I think at the end of the game it was Vince who actually kidnapped Stephanie. It was all a ruse.
Oh, pulls the mask off. It was Vince McMahon all along.
It was Vince McMahon all along. I think that's what happens at the end. But that game is
funny.
So. I mean, the idea is great, but that game is just tough to sit here and play. I mean, it's hard to get past the first stage, or maybe I think something wrong with my Game Boy Color because I have to push down really hard to get a response.
That's probably the controls are a little gunked up. Yeah.
So
you could open it up and try and like clean out the pad a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that, or maybe just trying another Game Boy. I mean, I only have one Game Boy Color. I usually have 2 or 3 of each console. So maybe I'll buy another color of the Game Boy Color.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah,
nice. All right. Well, I think that about does it on episode 11 of Saturday Morning Retro. Yeah, we want to thank everybody for sticking with us and listening to the show and doing all the good stuff that you guys do. If you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Also, one final note that we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. You can check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there at gamingpodcastalliance.com if you're looking for more gaming goodness. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.